Yes, sir. We back
What's goody?
for another episode. How my brothers feeling?
And we vibing, man. It's an
Yes.
episode of Daze After Dark Unscripted.
We live.
Days unscripted. Yes, it does feel like days after dark almost. We've never really potted like this, but again, we adjusting to the new format, adjusting to the vibe.
Hey, because we didn't say days after dark. Can we let them know what we doing? We are actually podded. We are recording the pod on a different day.
Different day pods.
Different day, different time is later at night. When it hits y'all's ears, it's gonna be the same. But
Yeah.
we just letting y'all know this is a different vibe for us.
Yeah, whole different
Yes.
vibe. Just got off work.
What is it? This is episode 19 as well.
Yep.
We was busy. We putting out pods all week. Go check them out. That's on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Mixcloud. We dropped the Unscripted on all 4 of those platforms. So go check that out.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very accessible, as well as the Q brand YouTube.
Very,
Yes, sir.
Very, very,
Yes,
very
sir.
important. Very necessary.
What should we touch on? I feel like it's been as far as my week, I've been like busy, but like I haven't been making a lot of moves. It's been a lot of the same moves. It's just like I was talking to that boy Gongzi, shout out Simba.
Yeah.
I was talking to him and he's like, he posted something on his IG talking about how back in the day things felt more hectic, and I was like, man, I feel like things are more hectic now. He was like, well, I used to be making all these moves back then. I had school, studio, work, you know what I mean? Like now it's just really less moves. But I feel like it's more hectic but less moves, as I was saying. But that's part of like getting older. So
I guess more weight in all those moves. I guess all those moves get more deliberate, way more important. You know what I mean? And it gets to the point where you feel the pressure a lot more when you get to this point. And it's still hectic because of the pressure. I feel like it's that panic to jump in, like, oh man, like if I don't get this done, even though I got 3 things to do today, instead of having 14 back like I was in school, these 3 things low-key can change my life if I don't handle this. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Hey, I'm just trying to get to the point where like more moves are being delegated under me, and I'm not necessarily the person executing all those moves. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
that's difficult though, Will.
But I'm saying, like we like, making less moves. Like I'm fine with making less moves if more moves are getting executed under
Exactly.
me.
I agree. And that's like something I've been trying to work on as well. I feel like some more of my ideas, especially this week, came to fruition. So it's always nice to feel that, as well as like I've never had a job like this where it's like, bro, like 4 or 5 hours be feeling like 2 hours, bro.
That's a
shit
wave.
just disappear. I just be so zoned in. You feel me? Like, and there's always work. There's always a project to be done. So it's always like something to keep my mind moving. So
It's a wave, man. That's a good thing to have. I mean, in most cases, does it feel like work though? You know,
I mean, obviously it feel like work, but it's not like I'm like hating it.
this up your alley though too. This is low key your area of expertise. So if anything, like you low key enjoy doing this because this is what you do almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just be feeling like I'm learning the whole time, bro. So it's really not like no negative vibes around it. So
It's a blessing,
again,
man.
like, and I was just talking to some of my plug. Shout out that boy Neff, and I'm name dropping Neff. He was on the early side of the episode, but I was talking to him, and we was just talking about how damn, I goddamn lost my whole point.
Damn.
Days after dark, people. We lost it. What was he talking about before? I feel like I did that last week too.
You was talking about your job and stuff like that and how it's what you do. And you was like, I was like, yeah, man, so do it feel like work? And you was like, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was touching on how, like, bro, waking up in Ohio, New York, bro, compared to waking up here, bro. When you wake up and it's warm, bro, it's such a game changer every time, bro. Like,
Why you think I'm traveling every month now, though?
oh, here we go.
But I mean that's part of the winter vibe. Like literally, this is what I'm like. This is now my every year move. Like
It's how you battle seasonal depression.
literally,
Yes.
that's what I'm doing, and it's working amazing. Like.
Yeah.
And I
May
believe it.
through like early September, I can be here no problem, and then like October, November, December, January, February, March, boom,
Gotta make some other moves, man.
makes at least a 4-day joint
Least
once a
something,
month.
dude. Yeah, I feel
That's
that.
I
this
like-
been fire.
Willie, I like your tweet earlier. What was it?
Don't complain about. Listen, yo, did you see that joint?
Nah.
Listen, I said, do not lie and say you cannot afford to travel when you are at this point in time eating out every day.
Yeah.
Literally 2 weeks of you eating out would have paid for a fire trip, and people don't understand that.
Yeah, it's a fact.
People don't know how to budget, bro. It's
Fact.
But I don't
it's
think people
management.
you don't need to sit here like with a spreadsheet or anything. All you need to do is work on like when
It's
you
about-
get your.
It's the
Some
perception of
people,
money,
though,
man. It's the
it's
perception of
discipline.
money,
All right.
bro.
It's a discipline too.
Exactly.
Willie, you might not need the spreadsheet. You might not need that execution, but another person does in order to visually see what's going on and see how it's affecting and what's moving around.
All right, can we get?
Some
All
people
right,
need that.
all right. I feel you. And what's really interesting is me and AT share similar mindsets on like what the goals are, but we don't share the mindset and application.
means.
Yeah, because the way I feel is I feel everything should be automatic. Like every week out of my bank account, money goes to investments. Every time I get a check, money goes towards both of my savings. Every time I get a check, money goes towards paying off debt in some way, shape, or form.
Again, Willie, not everybody has that same consistency as far as pay. And
But they can have. But bro, none of my pay is consistent. A lot of it is
Either.
freelance.
But you make it work somehow, which is the crazy part about it. That's something unique to you. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people have that consistent money where even if they do schedule that off ahead of time, or it's something that happens weekly or monthly or whatever it be, it's like their life is so variable and things are so almost, it's not even fragile, but things are so variable in that element of things as well that they can't afford to just bank on that every week or every month whenever that's coming out, because they might need to take that money and eat that month, or they might need that other side portion to pay the rent this month.
And
So
that's
it
also
really just depends.
And that's stemming from the base problem, which is a lack of understanding of how money works. You know what I mean? You and AT have a similar mind on goals because you have a similar outlook on how money works. You know what I mean? And as for the means to how to go about it, you just have different means of how to use it and how to get it to work upon itself. But a lot of people have a shifted and a jaded view about money because of where they come from. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know how to work with money, and they never seen somebody work with money successfully. Okay? You guys have both seen people work with money successfully, so you have a good idea about how it works. You know what I mean?
And with that being said, and I want your permission to Locc to spit this quote of the day that I had sent in the text, because you do the quote of the day.
No, facts. Do that. That's
Do I got permission?
Oh, yeah. All day.
All right, quote of the day.
We normally don't do a quote of the day on Unscripted.
I know, but he just brought it up and it's so perfect.
Then do it, bro.
All right, quote of the day is not where you from, it's where you at. And that's from Rakim on the song In the Ghetto. And I was reading the book Black Privilege by Charlamagne the God. This is my book of the week so far. It's probably gonna go into the beginning next week. But he starts the book with that quote in the first part because he comes from a very small town in South Carolina. And as we know, Charlamagne the God is on one of the top radio shows in the country in New York. And what people fail to see is they end up blaming their circumstances or their geographical location for what is really the lack of their proper mindset. Yeah. And when you have a lack of the proper mindset, you start to blame where you from and you not seeing where you at. And where you at mentally is what really matters.
Yeah, you find ways when stuff isn't working out. You find ways to make sense of it, and whether that's placing blame on yourself, even though that's so uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want to do that, so they place blame other places. You know what I mean? And that could be location, that could be a lot of things. You know what I mean? But if you understand money, you understand where the problem lies, and if that's your spending habits, if that's the way you budget, if that's the way you save, if that's all that things, you're able to address it. But if you don't know how it works, then you can't address it like that. You think it's normal to go out to eat every day. You think it's normal to not to you think putting $100 away a week is a lot. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can't imagine it. So it's perception, dude. A lot of people go out and they think that buying stuff, spending money is necessary, more necessary than saving. So
I think the problem also lies in people not recognizing the tools that are available to them. And the fact of the matter is money is just one of the tools.
And they also don't, and I'm sorry, At. I hear you. I'm about to give you the floor. But one other thing is that a lot of people don't understand how easy it is. You know what I mean? Like you said, a lot of people don't understand how easy it is if you just stop eating now, how easy it is to go on a trip, how easy it is to travel, how easy it is to get property, how easy it is to make your money move for itself.
I want to replace the word easy with simple.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is
And
because a lot of things actually are simple. It's just easy. It's not easy to apply. So a lot of times, like, making this automatic and using the proper tools to accomplish this on a week-to-week basis, it's so simple that it's difficult.
Just use your energy differently.
Exactly. And people are not using the tools. What you got, AT?
Yeah.
We're not using the tools exactly. You guys are both leading to my final point on this conversation, which is it stems from an even look how big people think investing is, and even just what investing is. Like people don't understand the value of just putting some money into what we're doing right now, a microphone, an interface. You know what I mean? Like that's where you start recognizing certain things like that, as well as just investing on small scale. You need what, $10 to start really investing.
Exactly.
$20. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
When GG, shout out another person. I'm name dropping all podcasts, but another person that got me really hip on it, investing is he's like, yo, bro, you got enough money to just put $20, $15 in Bitcoin. Just do that every week.
Yep.
And from then you know what I mean? I expanded on that. I grew on that, and I'm where I'm at now because of that. So it's like people don't want to start. That's what it gets.
And boom, you just hit it. A lot of stuff is so simple, it makes too much sense, and people don't want to start.
That's what I'm saying, man. They don't start because they're apprehensive about it. It's scary. It's a lot. It's really scary to try and put your money somewhere and not know where it's gonna go.
But I'm not even just talking about money either. I'm talking about tools in general. Like your time is a tool.
Yeah.
And
Your energy.
Your energy is a tool. Your phone is a tool. Your car or means of transportation is a tool. You literally have to start looking around your existence and start saying, what tools do I have at hand? And a lot of times, let me put it like this: a lot of times you can use your screwdriver as a hammer, and until you can get you a hammer. You see what I'm saying? Because getting the job done will get you to get a hammer.
Yep.
And you got to see what tools are available to you now to possibly use and leverage towards something else so you can get the things that you desire. And the fact of the matter is, first it starts with the desire, then it starts to look around and observe what the tools are, then assess the tools you have, and execute the means that you have. You can use those tools to get your desires. It's a 4-step process, and if people just follow that and use the tools, people can get to their desires.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people come to a realization, or they just kind of come to this assumption that they have no tools. And the thing is it's tough, dude. It's tough to try and walk through fire when you've seen everybody else run from it. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough to try and put your money in a place that's not your gas tank, or not your stomach, or not your vices. You know what I mean? Any of that stuff, 'cause that's all you've ever seen everybody else around you do. You know what I mean? It's a perpetual cycle. You learn from those who teach you. You know what I mean? That's just what it is.
And a lot of people let viewing other people's tools as being nicer totally cast them out from even trying to execute. Just because your car is quote unquote better than mine does not mean when we go down the street both going the speed limit that we're not going to get to this destination at the same time. What the fact of the matter is, using a tool, whether mine is good as yours quote unquote, or yours is better than mine quote unquote, all I have to do is execute and get from point A to point B, because that is going to give me access. And once you get to your desires, you have access. So all it takes is observing. Go ahead.
I think another thing, I think you give people too much credit, man. Like we were talking about it last week. I feel like you just give people a little bit too much credit, especially in this where we're at nowadays with the Instagram thing. But like back in the day, my parents always used to say like it was called like keeping up with the Joneses. And that used to be like it used to be a show, probably something. I don't know the exact reference, but yeah, but like where it's even bigger and worse now with Instagram. You see people on Instagram, and again, it's where you only see the final product. You don't really see how they obtain that,
all the work, or how they faked that situation to make it look like they did more than what's actually going on.
The bad side, exactly. The other side, which is, or even, you got a Tesla, but that Tesla's nice, but what happens when you crash it and you got to pay all this money just to get new parts and have it fixed because no one else except for people at Tesla can really fix it. You know what I mean? Like certain stuff like that where it's like, I don't think everybody looks into that and thinks about that all day, every day. They don't want to. No one really. It's
hey, I just want to put this one out here. There was an article dropped at the end of 2019, November 27, 2019, by Medium, and the title reads "Instagram is ruining travel," and it's basically, and I'm gonna just read one of the paragraphs real quick. He in 2012 essay from the Financial Times historian Simon Schama. This is the first time I'm reading this, y'all, so please please excuse anything that may be mispronounced. He delves into the reasons. He writes, he retraces his childhood love for the dense descriptions in Dickens and his chance find of Orwell essay he describes as the embodiment of poetic prose. He praised the long-form essay espoused in the works of Montague. But anyway, we travel and go places for our personal pleasure, to grow, to learn, to have fun, to challenge ourselves, to get rid of our comfort zone or take a break. We travel to see ourselves, places as they really are, and we travel with a desire to bring back stories to convince others it was a great experience and they should go too. Now, the problem is we see here like on Instagram and whatnot, people are always posting and whatnot all the time, and I think the allure of the image, per this article, and also
it distorts the reality.
And distorting the places they really are is really ruining travel because they have an expectation of a reality clash, and people don't actually get to see that. People distorting their images, and everybody's flexing, quote unquote, on everybody else, and that's really ruining because the fact of the matter is you're supposed to take in the experiences. Now, do I believe you got to catch the photos, you got to catch the video? Yes, but don't distort the image for yourself.
I mean, but that's the thing is like that's what these social media platforms have been set aside to do, bro. They have been set aside to give you to get you gratification and get other people to try and push and, you know, like your stuff or whatever. You know what I mean? How you get people to like your stuff? By flexing and putting on some fly picture, bro, and making it look crazy. And then when you go somewhere, they like, man, where did they go? Oh, they got the location there. Oh, they was in Chicago. They was at this place. They go and see it. They like, oh, this is not like what the picture looked. You're like, you know what I mean? And if anything, you go there and it's almost like a culture shock. Like, oh, I thought it was gonna be like this, but it's not. And then it's the hype, bro. If anything, it's the hype. And of course, like, that's the reason why I don't listen to a lot of albums when they first drop, man. It's the reason why I don't listen to a lot of stuff, and I don't try to experience stuff immediately when they first drop because it's distorted. My view, my perception is distorted, and it's honestly, I'm not gonna be able to actually see it for what it is. And honestly, that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? That's why, and it makes sense. I mean, that's social media in a nutshell. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? It's a flex. It's a flex machine. Just how it is. But yeah.
Now, I also want to say there's nothing wrong with flexing every now and then.
No.
There's I don't want the listeners to distort that either.
No, it's
but
not like
the
that.
fact of the matter is you have to go back to what are your desires. And I don't earnestly believe the people's desires are really to flex. They have a distorted view of what their desires should be, and they go chase that instead of what their desires are. I was talking to my coworker today, and let me go on the stream of consciousness real quick, but I said I believe there's 4 different types of travelers. You got the spenders, you got the explorers, you have the adventurers, and you have I had a 4th one in there. But the fact of the matter is a lot of people are all into like just spending and being lavish and whatnot everywhere they go. That's cool. A lot of people are explorers and they try to find the culture. They try to see what is this place about that's not just the touristness or places that's getting real touristy.
Yeah, embracing the native culture.
Yeah, a lot of people are adventurers and they like to go. They go on the hikes. They go on the trails. They try to see the unbeaten paths. You dig what I'm saying? And then you also have the people who, it is the flexers. It's the people who's the flexers who just go somewhere and do something so they can show somebody else. And if that's what's giving you true gratification, that's fine, because even if you break it down to love languages, some people's love language is material gifts. If you were to ask me, that's the most That is the most, for lack of a better phrase, surface level or superficial level of being loved. Same way it goes with travel. There are superficial ways to travel.
Yeah.
But me myself, I'm an explorer. I don't need to go down the unbeaten paths, but I want to know the culture. My desire is to be embedded in what's going on here. What goes on here? What are these
know.
people's life?
No,
I
for real.
want to know.
Willie want to know.
No, for real. I mean, when you travel, I feel like that should be a goal for everybody. But that's just me personally. Again, that's my opinion. But that's how everybody goes about everything, man. People look at traveling that way. People look at money that way. You know, it's almost for people with everything. People want to try and explore what they can do with something. People want to do what they've already seen somebody do. People want to do something just because they want somebody to like them. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of different facets of life, honestly. People that want to flex, people that want to live, and people that want to just do and recreate. You know what I mean? That stuff is common. But the thing is, like, once you understand who you are, that's cool. But you need to understand exactly, like, social media, like, I don't like to keep around or even keep people on my timeline that like to do stuff like flex. That stuff it feels toxic to me. It feels like a toxic mentality to just go on there and just flex something or whatever. You know what I mean? If you posting, you
just
posting.
like you wouldn't hang out with these people.
Exactly.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might not be around them all day.
Facts.
You might see them in passing and be like, "What's up?" But you're not gonna go out your way to hang out with them.
Honestly, you know what I mean? That's just the days.
Again, energies are contagious. If
Honestly.
you start hanging out with those people, if you start seeing that on your timeline, what are you gonna want to do?
Exactly, man. It's gonna make me feel like, oh man, I need to start flexing. No.
And again, there's no way we can deny that. And I think a lot of people do deny that influence, that outside influence. We're constantly being influenced.
For real, man. And that's the one reason why I don't get on there a lot. Social media in general.
Consciously and subconsciously.
Hey,
Exactly.
my coworker just hit me back because I couldn't remember the fourth one. It's not flexers, it's the relaxers. Some people travel to relax, some people travel to adventure, some people travel to explore, and some people travel to spend/flex.
I see you.
And I think having designated travel to relax, that's very important. That's something I'm not good at doing, and I'm going to admit that right now. The fact that I'm an explorer, I always feel like I got to be on the move when I'm somewhere else. And I apologize in advance for the Vegas trip because that's probably how it's gonna feel with Willie B. But it's just
That's
like
how it was when we was in Miami.
yeah, but like I just feel like there's such gratification at each next exploration.
I'm here for it. And we have a similar mindset when we go to places. We want to embody ourselves in there. Whenever I've traveled to any place, I've tried to go out by myself and go into the neighbors, into the neighborhood and stuff like that, the neighboring like areas and stuff like that, and try to actually be in there. Even when I'm, like, of course, I want to see some of the touristy stuff. It's cool to see, like, when we was in Miami, I got to see, like, South Beach. I ain't go to South Beach. I got to see it. And I was like, that's cool. That's all I need for real. I was here for other stuff. You know what I mean? I go to wherever. I go to Chicago, got to see some stuff, but I was here for the show. I was here for the artist I was performing. I was there to go peep with them and link with them. So it's
Just
like
for
when
the
I'm
art. Too.
exactly.
Yep.
Honestly, you know what I mean? Is that I'm here for what I'm here for what makes me whole. My desires. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's your desire. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't observe, assess, and then execute, you're not gonna get to those desires. But I do want to kind of piggyback on what AT was talking about a little earlier. And a lot of people are flexing, but you want to know what? If me flexing gets people in the door to start listening to what the true message is, I'll flex. Do you know what I'm saying?
Flexing with a purpose.
All right, no. Let me put it like this. Let me even break it down like this. If me flexing the growth in my investment portfolio can get people to start making it automatic and investing in their future, I'ma do it. If me flexing a new business that I open and whatnot, and like all the stuff that I'm able to do, but it'll get people to start thinking with an entrepreneurial mind, I'll do that.
It's not a flex then. That's the thing.
It is a flex though.
Flex comes with intentions though. In this case, it's not a flex. You're sharing your accomplishments. It's not necessarily a flex. When you flexing, this is what we were talking about with the Instagram thing. When this is a flex situation, people are distorting the image purely for the flex, purely for the reaction. You showing a different version of yourself purely for a reaction. That's a flex. You know what I mean? That comes with a flex almost. You know what I mean? Almost using a sense of hyperbole and exaggerating who you are, exaggerating its characteristics of yourself to try and make it seem like something it's not. That's flexing. That's like, what you doing, bro? You're doing a lot. As for sharing stuff and sharing your accomplishments, even like, let's say people was working out and stuff like that, and people showing stuff in the gym and stuff like that. That's not necessarily flexing unless it's like it gets to a certain point. You know what I mean? It's a certain. It's all subjective. I feel like, and it's all opinionated.
At the end of the day, no matter what the desire is, it's still self-serving.
But I understand that. No, not even.
No,
In
listen,
this case,
I'll tell
when you're doing this, you are literally saying, "I am doing this in order to enlighten and educate other people on what's possible." That's
your desire, right?
Yes, but
and the goal is to fulfill your desires. No
not the
matter
same.
what you do in life, the fulfillment of your desires is self-serving.
That's not the same. That's not the same as flexing. Flexing is a desire in itself. Trying to push something out there for a reaction to get people to just show love to you. You know what I mean? That's different than what you're trying to do here. You're trying to get people to look within themselves and look at a different possibility. And I feel like that's not the same as flexing.
All right, let me put it like this. Is a lot of what Kim Kardashian does is flexing?
Is partly. She started out as flexing. And I feel like even at this point, once she sort of her brand itself has evolved over the course of the past few years. I'm not particularly a fan. I don't think I ever will be, but I know at one point she was in a different lane. And she switched lanes at some point. And at this point, it's no longer a sense of flexing. I can say other members in her family are still doing that wave, but her in particular, it has changed over the course of the past few years. I can't tell you when. I can't give you any specifics, but I can say at this point, I don't consider herself really out here flexing. I can consider what she did years ago. You know what I mean? A bunch of stuff. I'm not even going to get into specifics, but she was flexing. You know what I mean?
Is Megan Thee Stallion flexing?
I feel like she's in a position where if you're in her position as a budding rapper, that's your job. Your job is to flex. That's what you got to do. And that's why when you don't flex, you see what these rappers run into. You know what I mean? You either have to have an immense lyrical ability and some crazy music coming out to not be flexing, or you just not gonna be on that wave. Look at Omen, look at Luke. You know what I mean? They don't flex. You know what I mean? Look at Reason. Reason don't be fucking flexing. You know what I mean? A lot of these people, and Reason is even starting to get to that point purely because of the lyrical ability, and it's starting to be showcased. You know what I mean? But look at Cole. Cole took a minute to start actually popping because he was trying to flex, and he was flexing. And it seemed like he was flexing. It wasn't like it didn't seem genuine. And he even admitted to himself with Born Center going into that wave. He even talked about it on the album. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I was doing.
Him.
I mean, Chain and Day and stuff like that. He's talking about that wave. But I mean, after that, you can obviously see where it got to a point where he stopped. It wasn't a flex anymore. It was more so he didn't have to try and be. He didn't have to wear chains. And dude said, "Fuck my hair," all that shit. I'm just about to. It's raw about lyrical ability.
And the biggest thing about that is J. Cole found his why, and that only comes from an introspective view. And I believe that we have both external and internal goals and desires.
Oh, yeah.
And when people only look at their external desires, they're not properly using the tools that are around them to dig deeper, ask why, and get to the true reason of why they need to execute differently.
Also, Cole was in a position where he had to flex. You know what I mean? As he was a budding
the workout
rapper.
Era.
Yes, he was a budding rapper. He was in a position where he had to flex. You know what I mean? It's what it was. Even Kendrick had to flex. You know what I mean? He was wearing the pants with no sock. You know what I mean? This is what it's a position you gotta be in. Meg Thee Stallion gotta flex. You gotta flex to get attention.
You talking about the stage where Kendrick was wearing the pointy shoe? It's basically the style is where you got a tight button down on, a bright jacket, some black pants that's tapered down, but the ankle showing, and you ain't got on no socks, or you got the little socks that's under the shoe and the pointy shoe.
Yep, and your pants is low key rolled up like capris. Yeah, it's a whole wave. Yeah, he was rocking that though. You know what I mean? With the jewelry. Because he had to, as a whole wave. I mean, look at Megan Thee Stallion.
Hey, Kendrick was dressed like Amigos.
Migos, that's their brand. That's a different wave. But that was also back when Versace and all that stuff was popping. When you think about it.
Versace.
Back in 2010, 2011, that's when the Migos started popping as well. And they got that Drake cosign and everything started going. It was a little bit after that. But still.
Who knows?
Anyways, though. When you're talking about flexing, you're talking about music industry, and you're talking about hip hop in particular.
Who knows, brother?
Flexing is almost necessary, dog. Would you disagree, AT?
No, I would definitely agree. I mean, especially as you said, early rappers or there's probably certain stages of your career where it's almost necessary.
Once you get a certain level of respect,
there's a few paths you can go, I guess, and some people take one of the. I would say maybe 3 paths there are.
Yeah.
Either you flex, you don't flex, or, you know what I mean, you blur the line, really.
Hey, real talk, I want to I have a stream of consciousness that y'all can either partake in or not. But I do want y'all to think about this. It don't have to be answered now, but I do want you to answer it at some point in the podcast. What tool have you found recently that you didn't know that you were either not using or weren't using right? And how are you using that tool now? I don't know if y'all want to answer that now, though. I know y'all still want to talk about the Mac album. We kind of touched on Dreamville, and I want us to talk on that more. But I do want you to think about what tool are you? Yeah, what is a tool that you like? Man, I had this tool, or this tool was around me, like, and now I'm glad I found it and I'm using it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how you go through like drawers and stuff in your house, and you find something that you ain't never seen before, and now this is cool, and now you can use it. Like you been had this though. What is a tool that you been had that you ain't been using, or a tool that you've been using that you finally are like, yo, I'm starting to use this right?
I got a couple tools, man, that I've either been using and I didn't know I could use it a certain way, or it's something that I had that I'm really starting to understand that there's value in having now. I'm interested in exploring. There's a few things like that, though. I mean, and mainly one of them being, like, photography and all that stuff. Honestly, like, I was always, like, rolling with it. But, like, at this point, like, I've been talking to a few folk, like, past few months, and people just pushing, like, so I'm just about to make that move this year, try and make some crazy stuff happen. And I didn't realize I could actually do what I'm about to do with it. You know what I mean? So I'm about to just start exploring, bro, and just see what's good, bro. Same thing with, like, modeling and all this stuff, dude. I got modeling, like, these castings and stuff like that talking. I'm like, okay, well, you know what I mean? I ain't really never thought about it for real. But, like, I ain't know. So.
You know how many people have told me to tell you that you should model? And I have told
crazy.
you.
I mean,
have you remember when I told you?
I don't. That's the thing. Because that's the thing.
You
it's
just
like,
licked over it?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's just like that. I'm interested in that. It's a few other things, you know what I mean? But like, it between like everything considered, I would have to say photography is probably the main thing that I'm like, man, like,
but
I'm
you
surprised
know
I
how
ain't
well
been.
you can mix your photography and your modeling?
It'll be interesting.
Where now you're curating concepts for yourself.
Be crazy, bro. I don't even know.
You see what I'm saying?
I don't even know. See, that's a tool I ain't even know.
Tap in, boo.
Tap into both of them. You literally can do both of them.
No, facts, bro.
I think, Willie, do you have one?
This is vague, but I want to touch on it later. I feel like I wasn't using the internet correctly.
I feel you.
And now I'm really starting to like use the internet for everything that I need to know how to do, what to do, how to get my hand held, and I want to dive into later in this pod, or maybe it'll be the next pod, the second one that we do. I asked some people this question. Yep, this is gonna be the next pod. Do not answer this on this pod.
Oh my God.
Well,
listen.
I think we end on the tool on
tools.
Tools. Yeah.
All right, so
who knows?
But we talk about because you ain't even talk about your tools.
I'm about to. Once you finish your tools keep bouncing to another topic with another toolbox and another toolbox, and I just want to finish this toolbox. And God damn it, brother!
All right. We gonna talk about. I'm not even gonna mention what I'm about to say then yet. I'm gonna mention on the next one. But
Man,
anyway, now I feel like I hype people up for the next pod. But anyway, a tool that I wasn't using, that I feel like I'm finally using correctly is definitely, very definitely the internet. Now, in addition to that, a tool that I didn't know that I had that I am kind of starting to finally use is my mouthpiece for education. I noticed the way that I convey messages in a way that I can help people set up systems for themselves, systems and setups to try and get things to work for them and as minimal effort as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really good at implanting those. I'm really good at having those ideas to help bring to fruition. And I'm starting to speak that more and use my mouthpiece more to just let people know what I think, because I started to notice that my ideas are valuable.
Facts. That's real, man. I'm happy.
Always will be, brother. You got to just turn them into stuff. Keep
tools for you.
Keep turning them to actual tools, man.
What tools did you come up on?
I would probably say my voice, man. I feel like I'm like, and not just like my voice, like, yeah, I got some clout and I'm just been speaking on but like my voice, like the power of like just speaking and like controlling your voice. You guys know I do voiceover, so I've been doing more of that. Obviously potting alone and just the control. I feel like I've had more control over my voice lately and just how I sound and what I speak. You know what I mean? Forgive me at times. I be high. I be under the influence, that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So it might not come out the best way. But again, I'm not always talking about the message, but more of like the delivery. Again, Facts. The voiceover points. Yeah. I feel like I'm like 3-4 years away from like just landing that big voiceover where I'm just like, yeah, you heard my shit in the commercial. What's up? That and I got a check for $30K. What's up?
That's a
you
fact.
Already know. So we got to speak it into the universe. Most def. I think that's it for this pod, y'all.
Facts.
It's going to fall. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows, Willie B?
You're going to lose that color. You're going to lose that cover. You know what I'm saying?
Willie
and it's just going to hit the ground.
Who knows, Willie B?
Who knows, bruh?
Who knows, brother?
Man.
Let's end it here.
Yeah.
We'll see the people. We'll see the people very soon, sooner than later.
Yeah.
Much love, all my people out there. Y'all got any last words?
Man, much love.
Last tools.
Much love to everybody who is listening in, and use your eyes, man. Use your eyes and your ears much more efficiently in this coming decade, man. When it comes to taking information, taking in this marketing, man, be wary. Be wary, dog. But yeah, stay up. See you next pod. Chill. Willie.
And make sure that you know that you have tools available, no matter where you come from, what walk of life you come from, what unbeaten path you may be coming down. It doesn't matter where you necessarily come from. It matters where you at mentally, spiritually, physically. You know what I'm saying? Because every time you grab onto a new tool, you put that tool in your arsenal, and that's something you can use in a different situation. So be aware of your tools, assess your tools, execute and hit the job. Get the job done with your tools, and make sure that you get to those desires.
Yes.